Hi, everybody. It's Ms.Salazar, and welcome to Phonics. Today, we're going to talk about prefixes re, un, over, pre. Today is February 22nd, 2021. And because we're still in the month of February, this is called Black History Month. So, Black History Month is the month where we talk about all the struggles and the achievements of African Americans. This guy right here, his name is Martin Luther King Jr., and he was the leader of a movement that helped African Americans have equal rights. A long, long time ago in the United States, everything was segregated. African Americans had to go to buildings that were meant only for African Americans. White people had to go to buildings that were meant only for white people. So nobody could mix. And white people saw African Americans as being inferior to them, as being less than, as being below them. They didn't really see them as people. And because of that, white people treated African Americans horribly. They would rob them, they would say mean things to them, and they would even hit them. So white people could do anything to African Americans, and African Americans couldn't defend themselves because the law wouldn't defend them. So that's why Martin Luther King Jr. fought for African American rights. He wanted African Americans to have equal rights. Now, I'm going to talk to you about Rosa Parks, this lady right here. So, she was working. She got off work and she got on this bus. Now, there were some places and some things where people like African Americans and white people could use at the same time. And an example of that is a bus. So Rosa Parks, she got on this bus. And when you got on this bus, because she was African American, because she was colored, she had to sit in the back. So African Americans had to sit in the back of the bus and white people had to sit in the front. Now, if there were no seats available, right, in the bus, and a white man comes in and he wants to take your seat, he can definitely do that. So, you, because you were colored, you had to get up and you had to give the white man your seat. That's the way it used to be. And Rosa Parks, she refused to give up her seat to a white man in a bus, and she got arrested for that. So, that's her in the bus, and that's her picture when she got arrested. Now, what happened next? When Rosa got arrested, Martin Luther King Jr., this guy, and other people, they organized a boycott. Now, a boycott is when you refuse to buy or use something because you want to protest. Ellos querían protestar. So that's why they decided to completely refuse to ride the buses of Alabama. African Americans refused to ride the buses of Alabama for an entire year as protest of segregation. So this happened in the state of Alabama in the United States. And again, because Rosa got arrested, which was ridiculous, right? She didn't want to give up her seat to a white man, and she got arrested for that. Martin Luther King Jr. and other people, they organized a boycott, and so African Americans, they all refused to ride the buses of Alabama for an entire year as protest of segregation. That is what happened when Rosa Parks got arrested. Now, here you have some pictures of the way it used to be when white people and colored people would ride the bus together. White people had to sit in the front, colored people had to sit in the back. You see? But after Rosa Parks got arrested, people were following the boycott. African Americans were following the boycott. And so African Americans, they didn't want to ride the bus. They decided to ride their bikes or to walk to work. So this was the way it was after Rosa Parks got arrested. And it was like this for an entire year. They decided not to ride the bus as protest of segregation. And it worked. It definitely worked. Now, that's a little history of Rosa Parks. She was an amazing, very courageous lady. And yeah, so there are a bunch of different stories like that. And that's why we talk about those struggles and those achievements in February because it's Black History Month. Now, talking about prefixes, here you guys have the meanings of each prefix. Re means again, for example, rewrite, to write again. Un means not, for example, uninvited means that you're not invited. Over, it means too much, for example, overwork, it means that too much work. Pre, it means before, for example, premix, before you mix. Now, this is what you're going to write in your notebook. You're going to write the numbers 1 through 5. You're going to write these words, and you're also going to write these words inside of these boxes. So you have to draw the boxes, and inside of each box, you're going to write these words for number 1, for number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. And then once you write this in your notebook, you're going to color the box that uses the correct prefix for each meaning. So number 1 says before view, before view, and you have overview and preview. So you're going to take your coloring pencil or your crayon, and you're going to color the box that uses the correct prefix for each meaning. Okay, so what prefix is used to mean before view? And then you're going to color those boxes, and you're going to do that for number 2, 3, 4, and 5. And in this exercise from 1 through 5, we are working with the prefixes over and pre. Now, on using these exercises, we are using the prefixes re and un. So again, you have to write this in your notebook, and you're going to color the box that uses the correct prefix for each meaning. So in your notebook, you would write the numbers 1 through 5. You would write these words for each number. You have to draw the box and write the words inside of each box. And then with a coloring pencil or a crayon, you're going to color the prefix for each meaning. So there you go. So for number 1, it says not usual. So which of these words means not usual using either the prefix re or the prefix un? And then you have to color that. And that's what you're going to do for number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. Now, you do have to send this. You have to send this to LMS in PDF. It is worth 10 points. And you have until February 28th to send this. But this is what we're going to be doing in class. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Bye, everybody.